Thank you so much for joining me tonight in this free webinar here at Integrated Pianist, where tonight we're going to be diving into the topic of improvisation for classical musicians. As you know, as a classical artist yourself, you have spent your entire learning around sheet music, learning to read notes. And you'll notice that I don't have anything in front of me today. And so maybe you've wondered, hey, how do I just go to the piano and start to play, start to improvise, start to make up my own music? And I want to use the example of popular music in particular, the pop harmonic loop, to help you frame how to improvise. It's a very powerful tool to begin to improvise in a popular style, a style that's enjoyable and approachable for a lot of people, and to begin to explore what you like as it relates to your own kind of improvisation. One of my favorite things to say about improvising is do what sounds good to you, okay? All right, so let's start. Let's just dive right in. And of course, with the integrated pianist that's rooted in the Taubman approach, you want to make sure that your bench is at the right height so that your hand and forearm, fingers, hand and forearm are aligned, right? So that you come to the piano in one unit. Now there's much to say about that, but the bench height is super important. And if you're halfway on your bench, okay, and if you're halfway on your bench, and I'm going to silence my notifications here. Silencing my notifications. You want to make sure that you're halfway on the bench and that you come to the piano in one unit so that the playing apparatus, the finger, hand, and forearm are all aligned to do what it needs to do. So that your wrist and forearm and hand are level or parallel to the keyboard, okay? That your forearm is really parallel to the keyboard, that it's not up like this, it's not down like this. Of course, this is breaking the alignment, this is breaking the fulcrum, so to speak, but that your wrist is not tense, and I'm going down a rabbit hole, as you can see, not tense, not stiff, but just is. It's one unit. It's a part of the finger, hand, and forearm. Okay. What I want to suggest is begin to improvise on the white keys only. And when I say pop harmonic loop, what I mean is that there's no sense, real sense, that the dominant chord, the 5 chord, which in C major is the G chord, that there's no real sense that the dominant chord has to go to the tonic or the 1 chord. In the case of C major, it's C. And I encourage people, when they begin to improvise, not to lock the left hand accompaniment into any kind of major or minor key area. This is so interesting. When you learn how to play heavy metal guitar, electric guitar, you learn how to play power chords. And power chords are neither major or minor, and they sound sort of envision maybe an electric guitar rocker playing open chords with just the fifths. You can sort of sense that there is some kind of harmonic structure there, but it's not major or minor. And if you were to add the third at that low of a register in your left hand, in your left hand, it would sound so muddy. Maybe that's one of the reasons why the Waldstein Sonata is voiced this way. That there's open fifth and then the third on top. Who knows? I'm just saying that Beethoven adds the third here, whereas the low part is just an open sound, a fifth and an octave. And so what I encourage folks to do is to have sort of an understanding of your perfect fifths in your left hand. And notice I didn't go to the B and the F. That's a tritone, and that's a weighty interval, a highly functional interval in the left hand that really propels you to go to the tonic. So I stay away from the leading tone. Okay? So pick a chord progression. The next step is to pick a chord progression. So in an open loop chord progression in pop harmony, what we have is, let's say we start on a 2. And we go to a 6, and we go to a 4, 1, 2, 6, 4, 1. You could start there. You could start with a 1, 6, 4, 1. You could do a 1, 5, 4, 1. In other words, it's not like a 5-1. You don't want to have like a so-do sound, okay? You don't want to have that happening. You want to have a kind of a non-final sense so that you can put something in the loop. I'm just going to make something up now with these elements in mind, sort of giving you the final results, and then we're going to break it down and show you how to do it, okay? Now, I just made that up on the spot, but it took me a while to kind of feel comfortable. It's like practicing. In a practice session, it takes me a long time to get kind of in the zone in practicing. Or when I go for a run, when I begin a run, I'm like, should I be doing this? And it just takes 10, 15 minutes, maybe a mile and a half to kind of get myself into the zone and into the flow of running. Well, when I was just doing that, and this is all live, of course, being that it's a webinar, I was thinking to myself, okay, what are you all thinking about? Do you think it sounds okay? I was wondering how I'm coming across. Am I really showing them how to play with the Taubman approach? How's my posture? Am I making any kind of facial expressions that I'm trying not to? And I was going in a loop in my own head about maybe what you were thinking and how I was coming across. And then I began to think about the music and the sound that I was making and how my body was feeling with the sound. And then I began to flow a little bit better in my own self. Anyway, when you're improvising, the best way to improvise is to kind of set yourself up in a harmonic loop so that you can try things, that you can try different rhythms, different textures. So let me give you a little bit of an exercise as to what might be cool, okay? So I'm going to bring up some of my notes here that I wrote on Substack recently, on my Substack. And hey, if you're not a follower, come on over to Substack. It's a really cool place. And there are a lot of cool people writing about amazing things on Substack. And I would love to share my work with you on Substack as well as here. Hopefully, I'm going to be posting this session on YouTube as well. So, okay, why a pop harmony unlocks musical fluency? And this is one of the articles that I wrote for my Substack just a little bit ago to sort of set up this session. And then an article before that was why pop harmony is a secret weapon for pianists. So I listed a progression there that I want to demonstrate today. And that is a 6, 4, 1, 5 progression. Okay? And that's what we're going to be working with tonight. There are so many other progressions, and you can do this in so many different keys, of course, every key. But tonight we're just going to focus on this chord progression, maybe give you it as an example of how you can begin to improvise at the piano or any other instrument really, but at the piano primarily. Okay, so this is a pop loop. It's non-conclusive, right? It doesn't land hard on a tonic, and this is used in music. Popular music right now is really making a lot of money off this progression. Anyway, let's dive in. So it's the 6, it's the 4, it's the 1, it's the 5. And it's really good, as an aside, you know, some folks think, well, figured bass, you know, I'll never use it. Well, au contraire, you're about to use it right now. And this is like the Nashville number system, if you're familiar with that in popular music. If somebody says, hey, we're playing the key of C, and they say, we're playing 6, 4, 1, 5, now you know what to do. You play the 6th degree in the bass, the 4, the 1, the 5, the 6, the 4, if you're watching this in replay, you could press pause and just get used to, hey, what degrees are 6, 4, 1, and 5 in C major? Okay, now that you know that, now get used to playing maybe a fifth to it, okay? Parallel fifths, I know. It's not good in contrapuntal writing or four-part writing in the exercises that we do as classical musicians, but in learning how to improvise, it's awesome, okay? So you could even do it in a lower register and it'll sound fantastic. Okay, so go ahead and pause the video if you need to kind of repeat that a little bit just to get used to, okay, what a 6 sounds like, what a 4 sounds like, what a 1 sounds like, what a 5 sounds like. Okay, now I would say the next step is let's pulsate those fifths 4 beats, okay? So 4 beats in a measure, 4, 4, all right? So we're gonna go 1, this is the 6th chord, sorry. For 4 beats, the 4 for 4 beats, the 1 for 4 beats, and just getting used to playing this pattern in a loop. Right? It's just a loop and you're just getting used to it. It's so pleasant to play a harmonic loop and kind of let the worries of the day kind of fade away. And so what I did was I got comfortable with sort of just playing 4 beats in a measure and just letting my arm drop, of course being aligned. And feeling really relaxed. And then adding my right hand something. What I did there was I played just one note on the 2nd beat. When you're learning how to improvise, one of the best things that you can do is just be really guided by rhythm, okay? And having that restriction of 4 beats per measure, maybe at 60 BPM or 72 BPM, that's my favorite tempo. Anyhow, you keep that steady, and then I put it on beat 2, right? So I went on my right hand. And And you can sort of create different kinds of sounds and textures in your right hand by just kind of allowing the left hand to give you a pulse. Okay, so that's a little bit of what you can do in your practicing of how to improvise, is just add some restrictions. So we're adding the restriction of, hey, we've got to play 6, 4, 1, 5, and we play every measure is 4 beats, and the chord changes happen every measure. We've outlined what to do in the left hand, maybe to keep that pulse going, and then in the right hand to sort of mess around with what's going on already in a steady fashion in your left hand. Here's a kind of an advanced tip, so to speak. You can do it. You can totally do it. Is that if you go down just a little bit and do an octave, this is really fun. If you do it an octave, you got a really kind of boomy bass. And then what's fun, you could add the 5th in between the octaves. So the A, E, A, F, C, F, C, G, C, G, D, G. And you'll get this kind of sound. Well, that's nice. It's like Brahms. So then you can really start to have some fun with your right hand. Maybe if your left hand is playing quarter notes and you want to start off with your right hand playing 8ths, and then you move into 16ths, and then maybe stop on a phrase or stop on a syncopation, I should say. If one hand is steady on the beat, then the other hand can be syncopated. All right, and you can kind of play with those kinds of things. Now, if you start to add the left hand being maybe a little bit more flowy, you can go. Sorry, 6, 4, 1, 5. Doing flowy things, kind of an accompaniment like this, and then playing octaves kind of straight up here in my right hand. So having sort of a pattern that you can sort of riff on, so to speak, is really, really helpful. And you might have noticed some songs that have come to mind as we're playing pop harmonic loops, With or Without You, Let It Go, and Frozen, wow, Don't Stop Believin', the chorus part. All of these really popular songs that are out there. Many of the Christian contemporary pop songs use this progression to keep the stadium involved, so to speak. Coldplay uses them all the time. And you'll begin to pick out sort of these pop harmonic loops that, oh, Taylor Swift uses them all the time to keep the stadium rocking. And that there's no real final conclusion to the harmony, so you can kind of just keep going and it never stops. All right. And there's no kind of emotional release. It's just always kind of going, going, going. And you'll hear it in maybe more popular piano music like Jan Tiersen and Einaudi. I was going to say Jim Brickman, but I'm thinking Jim Brickman is actually very harmonically interesting. Like he has some real... what is that piece called? River Flows in You, I believe, is based on a Passacaglia, that a ground bass that has this sort of pop harmonic loop that just keeps going, and it is quite lovely. It's quite lovely. But that's how I would start improvising and making up your own music, and you'll be surprised at what comes out. We're going to continue this conversation over the next series of Wednesdays for the Integrated Pianist. And as you may or may not know, I offer a program right now to help pianists reach their full potential in how they practice, how they learn music, how they enjoy making music, no matter the level. And when I think of an integrated pianist, I think of somebody that can just express themselves at the piano in beautiful, original ways, through improvisation, through playing really beautiful music written for the piano, of course, and being healthy in that process. So a clear emphasis and a clear foundation in the Taubman approach. Being emotionally healthy and psychologically healthy. So you'll find that in the Integrated Pianist, my program, I'm encouraging, I'm also challenging, but I'm trying to build up people and allow people to heal. Maybe they've had a bad experience at playing the piano, and I kind of want to help them in their relationship with this beautiful instrument that we all get to enjoy. Okay, so if you're interested in that, I'd love to talk to you more about it. We have a few spots, in that program right now, and the Integrated Pianist program, and my work, my studio is growing. So I'm looking forward to just kind of sharing with you this beautiful instrument and what it means to me and what it means to all of us, really. So let's be in touch if you're interested in learning more. So next Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, I'll be having another session that you can sign up for either here. I'll post this on my YouTube channel, so I'm speaking to my YouTube audience right now, is to say at the bottom in the description here, I'll provide a link for that workshop. And for my audience here, I'll leave a note in the chat just to say that, I'd love to see you there. Next week, we're going to be focusing on what it means to practice well. We're going to be talking about practice plans. How do you juggle all of these pieces that you're preparing for, maybe in a recital? What's the approach that should be taken when you're learning a new piece, right? what are some technical considerations? How do you grow as a technician of the instrument? Not as a piano technician. I am also a piano technician. I tune pianos or repair pianos, but I mean as a player, the technique that takes to play this beautiful instrument. What does that look like in developing? And I think you'll be really fascinated by some of the research that's just come out on how to learn things, how things stick to your memory, how things kind of settle into your body. And a lot of it has to do with the Taubman approach that I've been studying in earnest for a couple of years now with Edna Galansky, and just amazed at what I'm learning there, but also, deriving some insight, some key insight on the, 40 years that I've been playing the piano and practicing it nonstop. So I've learned a little bit along the way, and I hope that I can be a little help to the pianists that tune into this channel, that come to the seminars, that are in my private studio, the Integrated Pianist. So thank you so much. Thank you, everybody, for joining today. And we will talk to you soon. And if you have any questions as it relates to any of the content that we shared tonight, be sure to be in touch, and I'll see you next time. Okay, bye-bye.